All right, Republican former governor of Louisiana, Bobby Jindal, a presidential candidate in his own right a few years ago. What do you think of that, Governor? What they seem to be saying is that if it looks more likely that whoever emerges among the Democrats is going to be a sock the rich, go after them with higher taxes, a wealth tax, higher corporate taxes, that worries them, that rattles them. What do you think?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, Neil, thank you again for having me back. And obviously, our thoughts and prayers go out to Bernie Sanders. I may not agree with his policies, but I certainly hope he makes a quick and full recovery from his heart troubles. You know, my dad had a stint a year ago. My son had open heart surgery when he was an infant, so I know how serious that is. Look, I think that Wall Street and the American people have a right to be worried about these crazy left policies. There's a problem. You know, it sounds somewhat attractive when Elizabeth Warren says, we're not going to tax you, we're just going to tax the wealthy people. We're going to do this wealth tax. It reminds me of Louisiana populists. They have a saying down here, you know, don't tax you, don't tax me, tax the guy behind the tree. And what that means is, don't worry, we're not going to raise your taxes, we'll raise the other guy's taxes. The problem with these plans is eventually it always starts out that way. You know, the income tax was only going to be on the wealthy. These taxes only are going to be on wealthy people. And then before you know it, if you own a nice home, if you own your car, if you have some savings for retirement, before you know it, these wealth taxes are going to catch you as well because their appetite to spend is so large, they can't just tax the billionaires and the millionaires. They're going to tax everyday American working people as well. So I think people are right to be worried about these tax the wealth schemes and these crazy spending schemes. I mean, they're talking about tens of trillions of dollars of new spending. But I also think you're right. Be careful what you wish for. I think Elizabeth Warren would be easy to beat, but the thought of her as president absolutely terrifies me.
And maybe that's panning out here, Wall Street. Now, that's just a guess on the part of Art Cashin, who's an institution, certainly, in Wall Street, and bears, you know, his thoughts, and hearing them, they're listening. But let me step back and get your view of what's going on with the economy. Let's take the leap here that a manufacturing slowdown has taken hold. Then you worry if it you know, sort of crosses the road and gets into the services sector, a far bigger part of our economy. Then the president's rationale for reelecting him, the strong economic turnaround, the pickup in jobs, all of which, you know, we're going to give blame to the president if it weren't so good. We might as well credit when it is. All that goes away, or potentially goes away. Are you worried?
Well, look, there's certainly a lot of uncertainty, and you've been talking about it this morning on your show. You think about the fact that Congress hasn't ratified the new trade deal with Canada and Mexico. You talk about the uncertainty about impeachment, the slowdown about what's not happening in Congress. You talk about so many of the other things. I think one of the factors you mentioned, which is absolutely true, and the GM strike and some of the other things that are happening, one of the things that you mentioned I think is absolutely true. Is that, look, I think the trade war, I think the tariffs are having an impact. And I give Trump credit for taking on China. I think it's long overdue. I think it could actually be politically painful. It's not clear yet whether this is going to be a political winner or loser. I do think it's the right thing to do. And the reason I think it could have some negative consequences, there may be short-term pain to get the long-term benefits. Previous presidents should have taken on this challenge. They didn't do it. To his credit, Trump is doing it. He hasn't backed down. And my hope is we'll get real restructuring out of it, not just some kind of temporary truce where they agree to buy some more agricultural products and we go away, but rather real structural reforms where they respect our intellectual property. They stop manipulating their currency. And we actually have a level playing field for American companies when it comes to ownership of assets over there and the other issues that are at stake here. So I think you're right. I think the trade is having actually a greater impact than perhaps people are realizing. But I do think he deserves credit for taking on this fight. Even if there are short-term consequences, this is a fight that was long overdue.
All right. Thank you, my friend, very, very much. And your patience with this breaking news, but you handled it very well, and I appreciate that, Governor. Always good seeing you.